Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the MMT Social Hour. My name is Jesse Fouts, and I'm happy to be here today. And I'm joined by some wonderful, wonderful ladies. I've got a guest on the show that's not a regular from our MMT Social team, Katie Taylor. Say hi, Katie.
Hey, everybody.
Katie, tell me, and then we'll introduce the rest. I'm going to introduce the rest of the team, and I'm going to come back to you. So we got Colleen on with us. Hi, Colleen. And Shelby.
Hello.
We do appreciate you coming and joining us here for a live Q&A for Royal Caribbean, as you've seen it advertised. So Royal Caribbean is the partner of the month for Marvelous Mouse Travels. And so today we've devoted this hour, half hour, 25 minutes, whatever. We just kind of keep these things up in the air, just depending on you and the interaction, and sometimes I ramble. So, but before we go anywhere, Katie, tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been? So tell us something about you. So you are a Marvelous Mouse travel agent.
Yes, I am.
And just tell us out there. Tell us something you want us to know about you.
So I have been with the agency for almost 8 years. I absolutely, of course, I started off with the Disney and Universal, and then I got to go on another Royal Caribbean cruise and fell in love with Royal Caribbean. So that's why when this came up, I was like, well, heck yeah, I could talk about some Royal Caribbean because I love Royal Caribbean. So
awesome. Yes, because now you've been on a couple of different Royal Caribbean ships, and
yep.
So we definitely want to pick your brain and talk about Royal Caribbean. I know Shelby's been on a couple different ships, and then Colleen actually, I think that you know cruising from a different perspective, but not from Royal Caribbean, correct? So.
Personally, yes. Yeah. I've been on quite a few. Mm-hmm.
So this will be good because I want, these are great. I want you to see, and you might have questions that some of our viewers out there are going to have too about Royal Caribbean, because a lot of our viewers may have sailed with, Disney Cruise Line or Norwegian or Carnival, but never Royal Caribbean. So today we want you to come seek a Royal Caribbean cruise because that's their motto. So see what I did there. I threw that. But we have a lot of questions that come through for cruising, and each cruise line is different. I think that we're personally having sailed Norwegian, Disney, Royal Caribbean, just comparing back what's different between Royal Caribbean is one. Personally, I love Royal Caribbean. I love that, how they try to market something for just about everybody on that cruise ship. Mm-hmm. If you've been on a Royal Caribbean cruise, that there's, you can be as active as you want to be, or you can be as relaxed as you want to be. Whether you're chilling in the solarium, away from everybody, or you're down on you're on a heater downstairs in the Casino Royale. So, Colleen.
Okay, for the newbies who may not understand the verb, the words terminology, what is the solarium? Please tell us.
Ooh, good question. All right, so what is the solarium on Royal Caribbean cruise ships? Katie, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. It's one of my favorite places on a Royal Caribbean ship. I can promise you that. The solarium is the adults only place. This is where you can go as an 18 and above, and you can just go and chill and relax. And I will say that I've been to the solariums on several of the ships, and the Wonder of the Seas has a phenomenal solarium. It is absolutely the most tranquil place I think I have ever been. And there's a lot of greenery. They have a lot of, they even have on the Wonder, they have a infinity hot tub, I guess you could say, because it's at the back of the ship. So it's like an infinity. It's beautiful. Like, it's just so nice. My mom went with us on that cruise, and that was where she lived. She took her book and she just went to the solarium every day. They also have a great cafe there on the Wonder, which was absolutely great. And it's not just for adults. In the morning at breakfast and lunch, you can have the kids go and actually eat at the Solarium Bistro. I think it's called the Solarium Bistro, which was great. Oh my gosh, that was the most pleasant lunch we had probably on the ship. It was so quiet and quaint and great food. So yeah, the solarium is awesome. Love it.
Thank you.
Yes. Shelby, I mean, I know you probably hung out at the solarium too on your cruise, right?
I did, yes. Yeah, on Oasis of the Seas, definitely. I sailed that. I actually got engaged on Oasis of the Seas in
Whoa.
the solarium area. Now that I think about it, it was the solarium. And I think it's new that it's on the back, because
Yes.
the other ones, it was kind of in the front area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to check out the Wonder Solarium in about 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
See, now that's, yes. So we will actually be on the Wonder together in 2 weeks. Several of us from Marvelous Mouse Travels are going to be on that ship for a special onboard seminar at sea. So we are going to get to experience that. So I can tell you, the solarium is definitely a fantastic place for you to relax on your cruise. And there's going to be a bar in there. So if you've got the drink package, or even if you don't have the drink package, you can get yourself a cocktail and relax. And like you said, if you want to read a book, or if you want to put your AirPods in, and just chill on your day at sea, that's where to go. And even on your day not at sea, if there's a port you don't want to get off of, take advantage of that solarium. So we definitely love having that. So we had a question: do they have Wi-Fi? So does Royal Caribbean offer Wi-Fi? And this is often a question a lot of people want to know, because even though you're unplugging, you're not completely unplugging, right? Like vacation. And we know this better than anybody, as you can't completely forget the outside world. So we have to have Wi-Fi, stay connected. Do they have Wi-Fi on a Royal Caribbean cruise?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Is it free?
No, it is not. But it's a good Wi-Fi program, at least for me, from my perspective. We were connected the entire time. Like, we didn't really lose connectivity, even at sea days and things like that. So their Wi-Fi is really great. It's totally worth it, in my opinion. Especially if you have those wonderful teenagers who need their phones. It's definitely worth it for the time, or for the price. I felt like it was worth it anyway, because you can have more than one device in the room. So you can get, not every person has to have the Wi-Fi, but you can get it's per stateroom. So you can get up to, I think it's 4 devices in a stateroom on the Wi-Fi package. So I did not have any issues with it.
Yeah.
On board.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people ask, how does it work when you have multiple devices?
So it was kind of a weird way to actually get logged on. Actually, it took us a little bit of time. We were sitting in the buffet, and I was trying to get everybody logged on in our family. It's really, once you figure out how to do it, it's super easy to do the rest of them. But you just have to basically, it's kind of like going when you get on the airplane and you get the Wi-Fi, and you have to go through and log in that way. And then you have to put your name in and your stateroom number and things like that. And then once you've gotten logged in, you don't have to do anything, nothing at all. And then each person who has a device that you want to log into, you just log into it, and it's done. It's done for the week. Now, you may have to log back into it if you go to a port. I can't remember, honestly, if we had to do that. I don't remember doing it, but that doesn't mean anything. I've slept since then. So, because once we got off the boat, obviously it doesn't work off the boat. So when you're in a port, it doesn't work. I highly recommend doing the international day plan if you have that for your phone when you're going to ports. So,
right. Yeah, that's a very good tip. So one of the things I can tell you personally with when in regards to the Wi-Fi on Royal Caribbean, so you got a family of 4 that's wanting to go, right? Like, you can do this a couple different ways. You can actually buy the plan. You could buy one person multi-device, or you could buy it, one device for every person, or you can actually share your login. So, and really, you might, if you're watching, you might want to write this down. 2 easy things to remember: login.com, logout.com. Those two things. If you
Mhm.
type that into any browser while you're connected to the Royal Caribbean network, you can log out of the device that you're working on and then use login on the device that you're logging back into. You just got to be able to know what that password or what your login details are if you're sharing that password and that login. Yeah, Wi-Fi is definitely a huge thing for Royal Caribbean. But we talked about, so Wi-Fi is a paid extra, right? So why don't we shift gears real quick? And I'm going to ask another question that we get. So what food is included when you go on a Royal Caribbean cruise? Because this to me is important, right? Like I need to know, what are they going to have? I mean, I like to eat, obviously. You can say, I'm a pretty big guy, I like it. So I need to know, this is important. So let's tell what food is included with a Royal Caribbean cruise.
Plenty.
Well, their food is phenomenal. That's one of my favorite things about Royal Caribbean is they have amazing food. Included, you get, of course, your main dining, which is available every night. You can either have an assigned dining time or they have a my time dining, which is kind of different from a lot of cruise times where you do have the option to sign up for that and kind of reserve your dining time or show up and, check in. If there's a little bit of a wait, you might have to wait. But their dining rooms are beautiful. Their food is amazing. And they also have the Windjammer buffet, which we spent a lot of time in with my daughter as a little kid. She likes a lot of the options at the buffet and picking out a plate full of desserts and all of the snacks and fruits that come from the Windjammer.
Yep. What's the Windjammer?
The buffet on board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you hear somebody say they're going up to the Windjammer, they're going to the buffet. And here's something important to know too with that. Is it just open for like a certain meal, or when is the Windjammer open? Do you know?
Is it? I know it's
All
breakfast,
day.
lunch, and dinner, right?
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Right. So, and a lot of people, when you go on a cruise, one big, very important question that you have to answer is, when are we doing main dining dinner? What is that? And main dining works on Royal Caribbean just about the same way that it does on other cruises. You're going to actually have traditional dining time, and then you're going to have a late dining time. They've even got a flex dining time. Have any of you used the My Time dining?
No, I haven't.
Actually.
I have. So I am that person, right? Because I definitely am not a schedule eater guy. I'm like, okay, because if I'm on an excursion and I don't want to rush back for an early dinner, I like the flexibility of My Time dining because it enables me to either reserve a different time for each day that I want, or if I want to be very adventurous, I can do walk up for My Time dining. And that is what I really liked. I like the walk up. Now, a couple things to take into consideration if you're looking at doing, say, My Time dining is that you definitely, you got to be okay not sitting at the same table each night. And you might not even have the same wait staff, right? So those are things you have to take into consideration with doing My Time dining or the flex dining, as some people know it. But it is a fantastic way if you want that flexibility and you don't want to be locked in. But the great thing is there are some people that they just go to Windjammer, or they just go to the cafe, or they do the specialty dining. They don't touch it. Now, specialty dining is extra, right? So there are options on your cruise that you can pay for extra food experience. So like a hibachi, sushi, Mexican, upscale, Italian. But Shelby, you hit the nail on the head. Their food is fantastic. Even if you're eating the main dining, you're getting a great meal. So definitely. We had a question from Kim. Kim says, do they have grilled cheese? That's probably the only thing our daughter eats. Yes, they do. And this is another reason why I like Royal Caribbean is, even in your main dining, if there's something, they're going to work with you. If there's something that you need on that menu, and if you have dietary restrictions and you're wondering what in the world, now that's something that your Marvelous Mouse agent can help you with, the dietary restrictions ahead of time. But let's say you get a picky eater at home, right? We all have those kids that are there. I mean, they would eat chicken tenders and grilled cheeses for the rest of their life if you would let them. But But, in this situation, they're on a cruise too. It's their vacation. Let them have what they want. And Royal Caribbean does a great job of accommodating that. So yes, they will have grilled cheese. You can, on Windjammer, you're going to be able to find it probably at the sandwich area where they're going to have the burgers and stuff like that. You just ask, and they'll get that for you. And then of course, just ask your server, your staff there for dining when you sit down for main dining. We had another fun question from Donna. Are there certain ships that are more family cruises opposed to the party atmosphere? This is a very good question because I don't know. Do you guys know how many ships are in Royal Caribbean's fleet right now?
Are we at 26?
Yeah.
Total?
So
Yeah,
we're getting ready to add Icon in January.
and
We've
then
got
Star.
Utopia and Star. Yeah. So we got 3 new ships coming. We'll park right here for a minute, Donna. That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. So there are, I would say, anybody want to just throw out, what would be a ship that you would say would be geared more to the family than, say, the cruise, the party atmosphere? Anybody?
The Oasis class ships.
I was going to say Oasis, definitely the Wonder. I mean, that ship has something for every single person, whether you have a honeymooning couple, whether you have families with small children, families with teenagers, families with, that are, in the empty nesters that have the college kids that want to come and do a family trip. They're all fantastic. Those Oasis class ships are fantastic for all of those families.
Yeah. Yep. I would even say, if you're looking at very popular, the Orlando cruise port, so Port Canaveral, you've got the Independence of the Seas that is right here. A lot of people come down for an Orlando theme park vacation and they add on the cruise or vice versa. But again, each of the ships, and keep in mind, each of the ships are going to be different amenities. So you've been on both Oasis class and Freedom class. If you were taking, let's say, a family of teenagers, right? A family with teens or older kids, what ship would you gear toward more, the Freedom class or the Oasis class?
I personally think I would go with the Oasis class, only because they have the zip line, they have the flow rider, they have a great teen area, they have lots of like Sorrento's Pizza, the Cantina, they have the Cafe Promenade, they have all these other different areas that these kids can go to, the teens can go to. They also have tons of trivia, and they have tons, there's just so much for these kids, the teenagers, to go and do. But the Independence is great if you're going to do that theme park thing first and then go on a cruise, because they still have some of that stuff. They just don't have the zip line, but they have other things that are on that ship that they can do. They've got there's just tons of things that they can do. So I guess my thing is if you're doing a week-long vacation, I think the Oasis class ships are going to offer you way more. I think that the Icon is going to be offering even more than the Oasis class ships. So for those families who are going on the longer cruises, shorter cruises, I think the Mariner is fabulous. I also think any of the Freedom classes are fabulous, depending on where they're sailing out of. But yeah, that's my opinion.
One thing I know too from going on a couple different cruise lines is it's depending on where you're spending your time. So if you're looking to go party, you're going to be able to find it. If you're looking to relax, you're going to be able to find it. If you're looking for something family friendly, you can find it almost on every ship. So to say, what is a party ship, what is not, it's really what you make it to.
Right.
That's an excellent point. I sailed on Navigator of the Seas this summer from LA. It was a 3-night Mexico cruise, and those can tend to be the party cruises. They get a lot of bachelor parties going on. But we brought my 6-year-old, and we had a great time. She loved the rock climbing wall. There's the sports court in the back. We did laser tag and ice skating rink. But then there was the pool was kind of a party going on. That's one of those amped ships that's had a lot kind of renovated excited and freshened up on it. But yeah, you can definitely find something for everything. I took my mom, she loved bingo and like the trivia games. So there really is something for everyone, almost on every ship, I think.
Right. And that's why I think, like, when you talk about Royal Caribbean, I think it's a multi-generational cruise destination. I mean, if you're looking at having a family reunion or if you're looking to do groups, Royal Caribbean just knocks it out of the park because, again, you've got such a selection for everybody on board. Your small kids are going to have a fantastic time at Adventure Ocean. As adults, you're going to have a fantastic time, at one of the lounges or the solarium, or even in, like doing the climbing wall, the surf simulator. Your teenagers, and along with that, we actually Kim had another great question. We'll bring her comment back on board. She says, how much freedom do the kids have to explore on their own without mom and dad hovering? I think we all have kids here, right? Like every single one of us. And I have a teenager at home, so a 14-year-old who thinks he's 21. So, definitely. What can you say? What was your experience? How would you answer Kim on this?
I think it depends on the age and the maturity level of the kid and your comfort level. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere off the ship, which is nice. They have a little freedom there. But I really think it's the age and the comfort level of, like, is my kid going to make a smart decision?
Yeah.
Right. And sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead, Shelby.
I was just going to say, I have a 6-year-old, so obviously she's not roaming the ship. But I will say, when we checked her in and out of the kids club, which she loves, she doesn't want to leave the kids club. She wants nothing to do with us. But I do know there's an age that if you grant them the permission, they can check themselves in and out of the kids club. But the catch is they can't be at port. And I love that safety feature, which I didn't know about. So if you are of the age that your kid can check out of the kids club and you put them in the kids club on a port day, they cannot leave unless you come and get them. And that's for the safety of them while we are at port. So Royal's really thought of everything in terms of their kids clubs and safety for children.
That brings up a very good point, Shelby. So again, taking advantage of that ability to do a vacation like that where mom and dad can actually have a little bit of separation. Not everybody has that ability to, have childcare present at home. And when you go on vacation, you do things as a family. But the great thing about a cruise is it allows you to do things for just you too, and kind of give you that freedom of separation. So, I definitely do love the safety protocol that they do with Adventure Ocean, basically how they can check in. So Kim, in response to your question about the freedom in exploring, you can give them the access to go around and enjoy things throughout the ship, whether, they're going to have the access to their pass, their sea pass card. If they need to purchase things, there is an arcade on board, right? Like there's going to be an arcade on these ships. So if you want to give them the freedom to go run up a nice arcade deal, you can. Or you can lock them down. You can set up parameters there so that they can't just go spending spree with your money. But the fact that they can go check out the recreational areas alone, or if they can, and there are going to be event specific activities for your teens on board. Now, there is even a program that you can do. It's, Adventure Ocean is going to close at a certain time of the day, but let's say you want to do a late adults only dinner with you and you're with a group. There you can do a paid option. It's very inexpensive to have your teens do a late night option, or your younger kids to go a late night option where it'll be chaperoned by Royal Caribbean staff, so that you can enjoy an evening out. So if they don't want to go to the shows, don't force them to go to the shows.
Right.
That's the thing. You can, or if there's a show that they can't go to that you want to, maybe one of the more adult specific shows on board, and more mature in nature, and definitely take advantage of that. So very good question, Kim. Thank you for asking. So I'm going to ask another question. So let's talk about itinerary for a minute. So one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, how does Perfect Day at Coco Cay work?
one of the best places I think I've ever been in my life. And so I definitely, if I'm going on a Caribbean cruise on Royal Caribbean, there a stop at Coco Cay is happening for our family. That was a highlight for us. It is. They have a little bit of everything for everybody, including excursions. Like my family did the swimming with the pigs excursion and things like that. And they have a ton of different excursions that you can do on that island. Plenty of seating. Like I'm talking plenty of chairs all across that island. They have a zip line. They have the water park. Now, some of these things are additional cost. And we didn't do the water park because we did the swimming with the pigs instead. So that was what the kids wanted to do instead of doing the water park. But the water park is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so cool. But it is but they have that Oasis Lagoon, which is awesome. It's like a resort style pool, and with a swim up bar and everything. And if you have a drink package, your drink package works on that island, which is super great. So
absolutely. That's a fantastic, point, a tip. So if you do get that drink package, it's going to work on the island, and there are complimentary, food and dining options on the island as well. So they're not just kicking you off the ship without anything to eat, which is good because this is their private island, and I dare say it's the best private island out there. In the Caribbean. And I know, look, I love Disney's Castaway. I really do, but I think it pales in comparison to Perfect Day, right? And same thing with Norwegian's Island. I think that, I think Royal Caribbean just does this to the top, and you will see that. You could go and pay for excursions, or you can go and relax. Like you can go hang out at Chill Island if you want. Oasis area. There's so much to do. There's so much not to do, right? Like that's the great thing. It's your vacation, right? So Kim asked another question because she heard you about the pigs. Where do you do the swim with the pigs?
So they take a boat over to another island, and I actually don't think they actually swam with the pigs. I think they got to see the pigs swimming and play with the pigs. My daughter found a baby pig and wanted to bring it home with her, and I told her absolutely not. But they had a great time. My daughter, my son, who's 19, and my husband all had a blast doing that excursion. But I think they also have if I'm not mistaken, like all the water sports and stuff. Like I know they've got like snorkeling, and they've got, I think, paddle boards and kayaking even. I think I saw people kayaking too. So like there was a lot of different things that you can do when you're on the island that, for an additional charge. But the prices were reasonable. They were not extraordinary pricing for anything like that. But it was, they really had a good time with the pigs.
Now, what port day is that? Coco Cay, or is it at Nassau? Or
that was at Coco Cay, the swimming with the pigs. But I think they have that option too at Nassau as well.
Yeah.
So
all around the Caribbean.
So and I would just like to make a point going back to one of the questions that we were talking about earlier. When you talk about ships being family friendly, I would also look at itinerary. Of the ship, right? Like where are they going? Where are they visiting? I think that matters too. And I'm telling you, you want to do a perfect day cruise. You want, if you're going to be sailing in the Caribbean, and I'm not saying that you can't have a good cruise if you don't go to Perfect Day, but I think that you are doing yourself a disservice if you're not choosing an itinerary with Perfect Day. And, one of the things that I love, and this is great. So, the Oasis class ships have typically always been that you, in order to sail on Oasis, you had to commit for a 7-day cruise, right? And we're now starting to see Royal Caribbean pivot and give us other options, because Allure of the Seas is going out of Canaveral on 4- and 3-night Bahamas cruises, which goes down to Perfect Day. And starting next summer, their brand new ship Utopia, which is also in a Oasis class, is going to be doing 4- and 3-night itineraries. And you talk about that family-friendly. That to me, I love it because you get that 4 or 3 day cruise. You're going down to the Perfect Day in Nassau, and you get that ship. The ship is just as much as that vacation as the ports are, and definitely keep that in mind when you are looking at what cruises are family friendly, because there are you could go the more adult oriented route. You could do something like a quieter cruise out of Tampa, which goes down to Western Caribbean and doesn't stop at Perfect Day, or you could get lucky and get an itinerary that has Labadee, which is the second island that Royal Caribbean has in Haiti, and it's much older than than Perfect Day, but so itinerary is definitely important when you're, but definitely make Perfect Day a top priority if you have never sailed Royal Caribbean before, because it will ruin you. With private islands, I tell you what, you'll definitely want to go check that out again. So, but let's talk also, different itineraries types. Royal Caribbean, because they have so many ships, they offer itineraries not just in the Caribbean. A lot of people, think, okay, Royal Caribbean, right? Caribbean, Bahamas, European, Mediterranean cruises, Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Alaska. What itineraries have we done amongst this group? I'd like to know, Katie, what out of your itineraries, which would you say has been one of your favorite or unique or something that you've done with Royal?
For my Royal Caribbean experience, I've done pretty much the Caribbean and Mexico. So those are the two areas I've been on Royal Caribbean. But I will say, gosh, that's tough. That's tough because I really liked going to Cozumel. Cozumel was a great port. It was a wonderful port. But then I also loved St. Martin that we went to this summer. That water is very close to Turks and Caicos, pretty like water. So I was like, oh my gosh, this place is great. And, I didn't realize I'd never been there before. So now that I've been there, I mean, they have you can take the water taxi for $7 a person and head over to this gorgeous beach. And it is beautiful white sand, clear water, gorgeous beach, tons of little restaurants and shops in this area at the downtown. I think they called it the downtown area. Not really sure. But you can rent like 2 chairs and an umbrella for $25 for the day. And you can just sit there on the beach and play in that water, and it's beautiful. And I had no idea that you could even do that. So it was just a really nice little area to go visit if you didn't want to do it like an excursion, because you could do this, spend a couple of hours over there and head back to the ship, and have your morning on the island, but then head back to the ship and do all the fun stuff on the ship in the afternoon. So, it was a great port. I really did enjoy that port.
So, Katie, Raquel is asking, is there food there? Kate, and I'm guessing she's asking from the St. Martin.
St. Martin.
Yeah.
There is food there, but it's not like included in the price. So they have a ton of little restaurants that had all sorts of kind of Caribbean food and things like that. We went during the morning, so we weren't really hungry. So we didn't actually eat anything because we'd already eaten on the boat and everything, because we didn't know what to expect when we got off the boat. So knowing what I know now, when I go back to St. Martin, I will definitely be eating off of the ship, but it wasn't included in the price or anything. So, but tons of options and great little stores and wonderful little, they don't call them straw markets like they do in the Bahamas, but like little areas that had all these little handmade things and, little, I guess they're kind of like kiosk, I guess is the best way to describe it. Cause they weren't all like together under one big thing, if that makes like a big,
like a market
building.
Sure.
Yeah. Like a market. Yeah. It's more of a little here and there kind of thing, but cute stuff. In fact, my daughter got a purse from there. So, gotta have the purse.
Do you remember the name of the beach that you went to?
Oh, gosh. I don't remember the name of the beach. All I remember is I talked to someone on the boat, one of the employees on the boat. It was our stateroom attendant. And he told me, just take the water taxi, And I was like, okay. So I got off the boat. We took the water taxi. So I'm not really sure what the name of the beach was, but it was lovely, and you could see the ship in the background. So it was great to be able to just sit there. We just kind of walked around and looked. It was like, holy cow, that ship is huge. The ship we were on is like really, really big from even way over here. So, but it was a literally maybe 8-minute boat ride, maybe if that
Yeah.
far. I mean, it was, and we weren't going fast either. It was a very slow kind of, slow as I cannot remember the name of this.
Is it in the main Phillipsburg area, like where you would go for other, like other excursions, or was it a different area? Do you know?
You're asking the wrong person. I have no sense of direction.
We will find that out.
Come on, MMT, come give us
Yeah.
an answer in the comments.
Yeah,
Sure.
not real sure.
But you bring up, I mean, again, that's fantastic, because again, you're looking at your itinerary, you don't have to plan every single port out to the T. Now, obviously, there are going to be some must-do excursions that you're going to look at, especially if you're doing Western Caribbean and you're going to Cozumel or say Costa Maya, that type of thing. So, but I think one itinerary that I personally would tell you that's, you want to make sure you do your research on for excursions is Alaska. So Alaska cruise is unlike any other cruise. Now, there's no perfect day in Alaska. It really is ports. It's the beauty, and ship matters, right? Like, I think that's another thing to talk about when you're looking at these different itineraries. You have cruises that will sail round trip out of Seattle up to Alaska, and you have ships that will sail out of Vancouver one way, and they'll do one way up and one way back, either from Vancouver to Seward or from Seward back to Vancouver. I did the one-way cruise on Radiance of the Sea, and it was a phenomenal ship to do. It was one of the older ships, doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but what I loved about it is, the Radiance class ships have the most class of any ship class out there, and the reason being is it's made for scenic viewing. So no matter where you're at on the ship, you're going to look outside and you're going to see, as you're even if you're in the inside passage heading up, sailing north or coming back. I mean, it's just some of the most beautiful scenery you can imagine, and you're on a ship, right? Like, you're not just in the middle of the ocean where it's just blue and all it is. I mean, you're seeing mountains and lighthouses and and it's just unbelievable. But you look at things, you want to plan and get those ports, but sometimes you just want to explore the port and figure out Circadia. It sounds like you did that, and you were able to have a good time in St. Martin. So we have another question here, and Kim asked, what is the best time of year to cruise in the Caribbean? Wow. Okay, so that's a good question. Shelby, you take a stab at this. What would you say the best time to sail Caribbean is?
I am all for the Caribbean. I'll go any time of year. I will even go hurricane season. I know a lot of people worry about that, but to me, I think the cruise lines do a really good job of keeping an eye on those things, moving ports, itineraries if they need to. So like I said, we're going on a cruise to the Caribbean in 2 weeks. I've gone in January, March. I think there's not really a bad time to go, just finding the best ship itinerary that kind of meets your family's travel goals.
Right. I personally think the best time, if I'm answering this for somebody, I'm going to tell you January, February, March. I absolutely think it's the best time. And it's not January, February, it's not going to be the most crowded time for you to cruise either. If you think about it, historically, you're going to find cheaper rates on a cruise because people are in school. They're, usually don't vacation those first 2 months of the year. And then it's a beautiful time. And you're not worrying about hurricane season, but I'm with you, Shelby. I think I could sail to the Caribbean any time of year. I've sailed in March, I've sailed in June, July, I've sailed in August. I think that it's, it comes down to your ability to take the time off and, what it is what you're looking for itinerary wise. And you have to, keep that in mind too, because, different times of years, different ships might sail different itineraries. And Royal Caribbean will change their ships around, and you'll see that from port to port. You might have a ship that ports out of Galveston for 6 months and then comes over to Canaveral or Miami or whatever. But the Caribbean, usually, in my opinion, I love the January, February, March time. I think it's just beautiful. So, but that's my answer, anyways. So let me.
When we're talking about itineraries, aside from Caribbean, things like Alaska, Mediterranean, those are going to have different seasons,
right,
in different times. For instance, we are actually going next summer on Oasis of the Seas in the Mediterranean, which is really exciting because we've done it in the Caribbean.
Oh man,
so we're going to have a 7-year-old. So I'm like, I'm going to take her out on all these cultural things that are probably going to bore her during the day. So when we're on the ship, she needs tons of things to do, which is why we chose Oasis.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
And one thing, no, y'all from the South can keep me honest about this, but hurricane season's actually quite longer than people realize.
Yes.
And so the bulk of people like to do their cruises with their family in the summer because it's summer break. But technically, I think that still counts as hurricane season. So you could have it in July or it could be in September. But then going back to that, it's, the ships will navigate around whatever weather they need to and keep everyone safe. But that's something that prevents people, and it doesn't need to, because you could plan your trip in July or in September and save a significant amount of money.
Right.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that because the cruise that we went on this summer was during July 4th week, which was when a hurricane was actually coming. And of course we were all in a panic and we were like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I'm like, you know what, guys, you don't have to worry about it because Royal Caribbean's going to figure it out. Ports are never guaranteed for any cruise line, right? I mean, you can pick a port, pick a cruise for that. They try not to, obviously, they're not going to just change it just to be changing it or anything. But if something like this happens, the great thing about it is they can maneuver ports and take you to a different port if there's a hurricane going to be. If it's looking to hit St. Martin straight on, well, you may go to Cozumel instead, or something to that effect. So you're still going to get the cruise experience. It just may be a little bit different than what you had originally planned. So when you cruise during hurricane season, I'm going to make another plug here. It's very important to have travel insurance to go if you're going during hurricane season. Yes, you're going to save some money, especially if you go in September, because I know a lot of in my area, we have a September break, and a lot of families like to travel during that September break. And I highly recommend that they do travel insurance because of hurricane season. And luckily, I haven't had any clients that actually needed to use it because the cruise lines have done what they're supposed to do and maneuvered where they needed to go. So they still got the cruise experience they were expecting. So, but it's still one of those things where you would just definitely want to keep all of these things in the back of your mind when you are planning, for sure.
So let's switch gears here and let's do some more frequently asked questions that we get. Because I think, some people have never cruised before, right? And you're looking at it, you're choosing Royal Caribbean to be your first time as a cruiser. What do I need documentation wise in order to go on a cruise? Do I have to have a passport?
It depends.
Oh, it does depend.
It does depend. Yeah.
Tell me why, Colleen? Why does it depend?
So if you're on a closed loop, meaning it starts and stops in the same U.S. port, you do not need a passport. Now, because you don't need it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it. Because if you're in the Bahamas and you break your foot and need to go to the doctor or need to fly home, sorry, I'm getting that confused with travel insurance. You're going to want it in case there's an emergency and you need to fly home, or you're going to be stuck. If you're going from Alaska, I think it's Vancouver, you need your passport, obviously, to get to Vancouver. And you guys might know this, but what are the options with Europe or Alaska when you absolutely need a passport? Obviously, to get to the country, but what other options?
So let me recap real quick. So you're telling me that but you definitely recommend the passport.
Yes.
But if I'm just saying, yeah, I'm not getting a passport, I'm going to just take my chances. Am I
Make
okay with
sure
just my driver's license?
make sure that no driver's license, no, absolutely not. You need a birth certificate. You need a state county notarized birth certificate. It cannot be one from the hospital that they printed out and sent you home with. Very important. Some people think that that is their passport or their birth certificate. You do need the one from the county that's notarized. Original, not a copy.
Good to know. So definitely want to make sure that you have the right documentation. I don't think anybody wants to get to port and be denied sailing. I think that would just crush my hopes and dreams. I mean, I would just be
Yeah.
I would be devastated. So definitely, take heed to what was said as far as, the recommendation would be passport, right? But and I will go a little further and tell you that if you know you're sailing next year, don't wait to get your passport because it is taking extremely long for passports to be processed. And I'm not talking about, 1 to 2 weeks late. I'm talking about like 8, 9, 10 weeks late. So we're talking right now, give yourself a good, I would say give yourself a good 4-month cushion. I mean, I would not try to get your passport within 4 months. Now, there are situations where you can actually visit certain offices within your state to hurry it along, but those are emergency only type of situations. Just give yourself the peace of mind. If you know you're going to cruise, go ahead and get it. And remember, too, if you have a passport already, if you're taking a cruise, and it might still be valid, if its expiration date is within 6 months, then you will need to renew your passport before because it wouldn't be valid. And just again, even though it doesn't expire for 3 months after your cruise, it's still not valid because it's got to be valid for at least 6 months past your time of travel.
Another thing I'll point out, because we have this happen a lot with, people going on honeymoons, they just got married. Your name that you put on your reservation should match your passport. So a lot of people that I know that do honeymoons, I usually advise them to book everything in their maiden name and don't go through all that changing process quite yet because of how long it can take to get the documents and everything.
Great tip. So let me.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Maybe you guys know. Can I cruise with a passport card or a book? Which one do I get?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
I'm pretty sure it has to be a book, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think passport cards are valid forms of ID.
Right.
I think and I think this varies by cruise line is another thing. So definitely, I always send my clients the exact wording that is on the websites for their sailings. I think in that case, it would be more of a substitute for a driver's license, and you probably still need the birth certificate. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of that asked recently too.
Yeah.
And you're starting
So,
to see those IDs, the special IDs, the enhanced IDs too. So you'll see some things are changing, and I would the safest bet is passport, right? Like that's just the undeniable thing that if you have that, there's no questions asked.
Exactly.
However, if you don't have it, be very, like you said, make sure you're checking the actual cruise line. And then also I would recommend the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Check out the, what's said there. Because you got to think about this from the ability to get back to the country, right? If you are, Colleen, you said it, if something were to happen, we don't ever plan our accidents, right? That's why they're accidents. I think that, if you did get caught somewhere where you couldn't get back on the cruise ship, then you have to figure out how to get back over the border through the air. And that's going to require some time. It's going to require a letter to an embassy, that type of thing. It's just, there's a lot of work that goes involved. I think it's just easier to make sure you have the passport. But go ahead, Colleen. Sorry about that.
No. So that's exactly what I was going to say. If there's any doubt in your mind about what you should or what birth certificate you have or any of that, just get the passport book and you don't have to worry about anything else, any other documents.
Yep. Carmi says that it took her 4 months to get her sons when they applied for theirs in December of 2022. So, again, I don't think there's anything worse than knowing that you have a cruise that's just creeping up on you, and you're like, I still don't have my passport. I think that just sends you into a different type of panic. And it's just always better to be prepared in that way. So I want to ask another frequently asked question, something that, that I know we touched on dining per se. What can I drink on a cruise if I'm not going to book a deluxe alcohol package? What's included already for me to drink?
So you can have coffee, water, tea, lemonade, and there were juices in the buffet area. There were juices, and they were actually available all day. Like we could get juices all day long. And I want to say milk, but my kids don't drink milk, so I'm not positive on that. But I know we got coffee, tea, water, and the juices. I know we had that, but I think milk is included also in that essential drinks.
Yep. They usually have the cartons up at Windjammers that you can get the white, the whole, that's like 2%. And then they have skim as well. Certain things can vary by cruise too, by the way. So cruise ships can vary on that. And it's important to note that it is not the freshly squeezed juices.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because you can go on a cruise and you don't have to buy the deluxe package that includes alcohol. Maybe you don't drink alcohol. Maybe you can't drink alcohol. Maybe you're not of age yet, right? But maybe you want to be able to get your specialty coffee drinks like your Frappuccino, because they do have Starbucks on board, people, at Cafe Latitudes. If you want a flat white, a latte, all that, they have that. They have milkshakes at Johnny Rockets. These are things you could, there's different drink packages that you can get. So for instance, the soda package, right? That's pretty straightforward. Has anybody ever here done the refreshment package, which is the step up?
My niece and nephew did that. That's what my brother got for my niece and nephew, and they loved it. They got, I was going to mention this about the Wonder, and I'm not sure how many of the Oasis class ships have these, but the Bionic Bar actually does mocktails for kids. So the kids can go up and actually order a drink, like a Shirley Temple or whatever, and they think that they're adults, right? And the Bionic Bar will make it for them, and that's included in that package, in the refreshment package. Also smoothies, they could get smoothies. They could get, I think they could get the specialty coffees. But I will also mention too that even because I'm a huge Starbucks coffee drinker, like huge, like it's actually pretty bad. Like I probably spend way too much money on Starbucks. So, but they also have a coffee card that you can purchase. That's like 30. It was like $31 for ours. And it was like, you got 15 drinks. I was like, oh my gosh, like sign me up. Now, granted, those are for the tall drinks. Like, it's 15 tall drinks. So if you get a grande or a venti, then it's like, it counts as like
extra
punch
or
whatever.
Or if you want extra espresso,
But it was so worth it because our family loves coffee. So I got one for my mom. I got one for me. And, we just kind of shared it. I got some for my son and some for me. It was great. So the coffee, so even if you don't need the refreshment package, but you want those specialty coffees, you can get the coffee card and you can order as many of those as you want, actually, for $31, I think it was. It was not expensive at all. And so that is another thing that you can look at. So
yes. So if you go to Cafe Latitudes where they're going to have the Starbucks, you're going to see all types of treats there. You don't actually pay for those treats. Those are included. That's in your cruise fare, but your specialty drink. And we had Cinnamon Roll Cat asked, what is your favorite Starbucks, if any, if you drink Starbucks? I love Starbucks. My personal go-to drink is a flat white. I love a flat white, extra one shot of extra espresso. But I'm also a Starbucks, straight black coffee drinker. I love the taste of the Pike's Place, now when you were talking about the included coffee is not Starbucks coffee. Okay. So if you have if you're bougie with your coffee like I am, you definitely want either that refreshment package or that Cafe Latitudes card that you can get. And you can actually buy it ahead of time or you can buy it on the cruise. But definitely it's a great deal. Take advantage of it because it definitely will save you money. But the refreshment package, like you said with the mocktails, I think that's fantastic. I mean, especially the Bionic Bar. And for those of you that don't know, the Bionic Bar is not on every ship. So it's only going to be on certain class ships. And Katie, you saw it on Oasis.
On the Wonder. Yeah,
on
the Wonder.
Mm-hmm. Yep, on the Wonder. So definitely that's a really neat area. Check that out, especially if you have a robot making your drink.
It is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. I'll be honest. I would go down there and just watch it because I was like, oh my gosh, it's like shaking it and everything. It was like, it was just really cool.
I think you get the milkshakes, the Johnny Rocket milkshakes on that specialty drink package too.
Yes, you're exactly right. So here now, I hate to burst any bubbles. You can't just walk up and order the milkshake. You have to actually be dining, unless they've changed this. But you definitely have to. It's included if you're dining.
I think they may have changed that
Did they change it? Okay.
Well, the only reason why I'm saying that is because my niece actually went in and got a milkshake and she was walking around with it, and I know she didn't eat there.
You heard it here.
So I'm thinking that at least on the Wonder, that's how she did. That's what happened on the Wonder. Now that may not be the case with all of them, but.
Well, then I'm going to have to rethink this because if I can just walk up and get a milkshake, I mean,
changes the game.
Not that I don't like, to eat at Johnny Rockets, but that's really okay. So, I'm wrong. So, I stuck my foot in my mouth because Gina also says she got shakes every day in July.
Maybe it was.
Look at this.
And we went in July.
She got him on Liberty when she's okay. I was wrong, people. So guess what?
So I have a question. With the refreshment package, if you get the unlimited alcohol package, do you get the refreshment package as well? Can I get my juices and my shakes? Okay, because some people will ask. And soda. You don't got to get an extra package for each thing.
It's everything. If you get the deluxe package, you get everything. Yep. Everything comes with that.
I don't think we mentioned too, the soda is the freestyle machines.
Yes.
I can get, cherry Diet Coke, orange flavored Sprite. You can mix and match, which is really fun.
And it also has vitamin water. Yes. And it has vitamin water and things like that too. And the club sodas and stuff like that for people who don't necessarily want like Cokes and Dr. Peppers and stuff like that. Right. But
you could bring them to Windjammers. You can bring them to the cafes, the bars. The bars will refill them too. And then of course you've got the refill stations, which is very nice. So definitely.
And also, just real quick, if you get any of those packages at dinner, you just have to show them your CPAS card, and you can get any of those at dinner as well. Like if you're in the main dining area, our wait staff were so fantastic on the Wonder. I just have to give them a shout out. As soon as we got to our table, the assistant server was bringing the strawberry banana smoothies for my niece and the virgin pina coladas for my nephew. And I mean, like they knew what we were going to be drinking and they already brought it out. Right. Yeah. So, and they didn't even ask for it after the first night because they knew who had what package. Right. Yep. So it was, so it's nice. You don't have to bring, you don't have to bring that souvenir cup with you if you want to get a Coke at dinner. Like you just show them your CPAS and they'll bring you a Coke.
So we had a really good question from Kim. Kim, you're my question all-star today. So I just want to say thank you so much for asking all these great questions. Any advice about rooms? I've heard that it's a good idea to get adjoining rooms for a family versus a bigger room. Man, that's a great question because does anybody want to jump in on this one and talk?
I will. I'm all for more space in a second bathroom.
Yes.
I'm the same way. So either I would do the adjoining rooms or connecting rooms. I will say on the Wonder, some categories are not connecting. And some categories are. So if you want connecting rooms, meaning that there is a door inside that connects, you need to make sure you talk with your travel agent for sure to make sure that you get the right rooms, because adjoining is just side by side, which was what we had for our family. We were adjoining rooms 3 in a row. And I will say that when you do have adjoining rooms or connecting rooms and you're on a balcony, the great thing is they can open up that little partition, and
Yes.
guess what? You have a huge balcony that you can kind of walk, and then you don't have to go in the hallway. Like if you want to go visit your grandma next door, you can just walk out on the balcony and go knock on her door or whatever,
Yep.
and you don't have to go into the hallway or anything. So
Right.
that's super nice. But I will also say that Royal Caribbean has, especially coming out on the Icon, they have some amazing family suites that are actually 2 rooms. But I mean, there's still only the 1 bathroom, but there are actually 2 rooms in those family suites, like the Surfside family suites. They have a whole room that's just dedicated for the kids. And then there's the main bedroom, and things like that. They also have some amazing, those aqua theater suites are amazing. And those do come with more than 1 bathroom. It's 2 bedroom and 2 bath. And they're right there at the aqua theater. So you can just go out on your balcony and watch the show. It's super convenient and nice. So I think it just really depends on your family, budget wise and space wise, like what you're needing in your rooms. But again, it's up to you.
So I would jump in and say sometimes it's even cheaper to do 2 connecting double rooms than it is to do a room for a family of 4, or even a double occupancy to a triple occupancy. And Katie, you make a great point. Connecting rooms can sometimes be harder to find, especially if you're selling at a more popular time. But if you get those adjoining rooms, they don't have the inside connecting door, but you can open that partition from the balcony. It's the next best thing, especially if you got an older family. And then here's a great tip for you out there. If you're looking to sail and you've got multiple children, you want to do 2 separate rooms, you can do so. You can list the children on the room as long as you are, the adult. That's the guardian. So, again, if you're traveling with multiple, and let's say you don't have a second adult and you have 3 children, I'm just using an example, 1 adult, 3 children or something. You want to do the 2 rooms connecting, you can do that. Royal Caribbean will make that exception for you. So keep that in mind as you're looking at options if you don't want to do a bigger ocean view room or one of the suites or, that type of thing. So great question, Kim. Great question. Definitely like that one. But I know. Wow! I'll tell you what. We've just hit right over the hour mark. We've had some great questions, and Gina says she had 4 rooms and they opened all the balconies. So, wow! So you had like a whole extended section for balconies.
Yes.
That's awesome. So real quick, before we get out of here, before we go, so again, we mentioned at the beginning of our live that this month is Partner of the Month for Royal Caribbean. And just want to show this to you real quick, and it's up on the screen. But one of the things, if you are booking with any Marvelous Mouse travel agent, you can get the Loyal to Royal offer, which is going to be some special onboard credit for your cruise. So depending on whether you're booking a suite, a balcony, an interior, or ocean view, you are going to get some onboard credit from Marvelous Mouse. So definitely make sure to check that out. But in addition to that, if you are booking on a select 7-night Bermuda, Caribbean, Alaskan, European sailing, maybe you want to join Shelby on the Oasis to the Mediterranean next year, then you could, if you book a balcony room, you're going to get specialty dining for 2. And their specialty dining on a royal ship is incredible. Like it is just phenomenal. So again, that's a great benefit there. So if you aren't already working with a Marvelous Mouse travel agent, just reach out. You can find in this Facebook group that you're watching us. You can contact us. You can visit marvelousmousetravels.com and fill out our contact form, and you'll be put in touch with one of our many Royal Caribbean expert agents that can help you book a cruise. So anything to say before we let all these great people go? And thanks to everybody for just staying on and watching with us. Any last words, parting wisdom for Royal Caribbean?
I'll just say book early.
Book
These
early,
ships
yes.
are filling up. That's the best way to get the best price. And especially if you're larger families and you want a room that fits 5, you want connecting rooms, you have got to be booking early. So the sooner you can get on that, the better.
Yep. Do not wait.
Nope.
Well, thank you for watching, and wherever you're at, I hope that you have a good rest of your day. Have a marvelous afternoon, and thank you for joining us this morning. And we will see you on our next MMT Social Hour in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.